Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's concentrate on the situation update on the front lines at first, because near Starmayorsk and Urozhaine it's getting hot. We have the movement from both of the sides. So yesterday Ukraine performed a counterattack, demolishing the Russian positions, many of their vehicles, and capturing the Russian soldiers. Yeah, we have the confirmation that Ukraine was capable to do it, but Russia at the same time went to Starmayorsk, to the first buildings of this village. Starmayorsk was liberated during the summer counteroffensive of the Ukrainian army, and now there is a heavy battle. Before, Russia moved to Urozhaine but was forced to retreat under Ukrainian pressure, so maybe something like that is going to happen in Starmayorsk. At least we all would like to see that picture, but for now Russia advances in this place. Probably they were waiting for Ukrainian attack, or counterattack from Urozhaine, and after it they send their massive attack to Starmayorsk. Maybe they see that Ukraine has not enough forces to protect two of the villages simultaneously. Right, just for you to understand, we are speaking about the southern part of the Donetsk Oblast. And here deep state military map gives us just the Russian advancement picture. So it was 3 days ago, 2 days ago, and today. So Russia went there according to the deep state map analysis, but Ukraine started to push them southbound. But according to the Miko 73 analytic, Russia moved ahead, taking more ground. The nearby field with some of the tree lines was also occupied by Russians, and they continue to use aviation bombs. At the same time, they're losing lots of their vehicles because Ukraine targets them with FPV drones. And the good news that our guys now receive more artillery shells compared to the previous time, so they may fire those from the morning till evening as they describe. Maybe that's why Ukraine now has the counterattack vector, so it is the hot spot out there. The fights are ongoing in the place for the third day consecutive. Obviously Ukraine doesn't have the ballistic missiles, and Russia uses many more aviation gliding bombs in the sector. That's why still they have the advantage over Ukraine. And here we see that Russia has the other attack vector. We're gonna see how it's gonna be developed in the future. The Starmayorsk is important because it has the road which goes to Rivnopil, and all of those territories were liberated again during the summer counteroffensive. So Starmayorsk is important as well as Urozhaine. What else we have for today? That the Russian offensive near Urozhaine slowed down, but it didn't stop. So the good news that the pace of the Russian army attack is not that severe. So for today we have just this gray zone expansion yesterday and today. Nevertheless, Russia continued their attack attempts. As our general command says, the idea for Russia is to move to Pokrovsk, but I think that their goal for now is to cut this main road for supplies of Ukrainian army, and only after that they may advance to Pokrovsk. But Pokrovsk is definitely far away from the place, more than 20 kilometers. Let's measure the distance to the front lines. Yeah, 27 kilometers. It's very early to say about the direct threat to that city. However, Ukraine should put more attention to defend Pokrovsk, to build defense lines close to the city. But where Russia continued their attacks, and it's imminent that they will occupy all of this area, is near Tonenke and Yasnobrodivka. We have the situation changed there for today, so it was yesterday, this is today the Russian advancement happened. There was standstill near Tonenke for a very long time because their forces were absolutely ambushed. The biggest Russian convoy, I'm telling you about again, but they sent reinforcements to the place, and they have the order to continue their mid-wave attacks to occupy all of this part. But later on I think they will be stopped at the place for some time, but the bad thing is that they crossed the river in the area, so they will continue their assault not from this part, but I think taking all of this ground. It's their shared goal perspective. After that they will advance to the highway that I've just showed to you. What else we have? It's the situation update. It's not the Russian advancement, it's the update of this sector for a long time. So now, according to the recent information, we have this data that Russia occupied this region. The data came for a long time, around 1 month. That's why it's not the recent Russian army advancement. So again, it was like that, and this today. So Vesela was occupied and still occupied by the Russian armed forces. Also, we have the information about the breakthrough of the Russian army to Sumy region. Not the big unit, brigade or something, just a small armed group of the Russian armed soldiers. There was the fight at the border and they were forced to retreat from Ukrainian territory. Even though the Russian mission was unsuccessful, but it shows that Russia is interested in Sumy region. Guys, you probably know that YouTube restricts most of my videos, and today it's been the first time for a very long time then YouTube finally lowers some of the restrictions, at least on one of my videos. But the problem is that the video was released 2 days ago, it already got all of the views, but manual reviewing takes time, several days for the YouTube team to achieve, so mostly my videos are being restricted by YouTube robot, the artificial intelligence which knows nothing about the topic from what I can see. That's why, my friends, I rely on your support on Patreon. You keep me running every day, filming videos about the situation and the war in Ukraine. So you may join my Patreon page with the link in the video description just below, or you may scan the QR code available on the screen. Thank you so much for your awesome support. About the actual battles, the Deep State military map source shows us the battle between T-80 tank and Ukrainian Bradley. Well, American-made Bradley, but in Ukrainian army. So Bradley totally demolished the Russian tank with the help of the TOW missile. So this is Bradley, and hopefully you can see here is the white dot. It is the Russian tank. So again, this is Bradley, this is the Russian tank, and Bradley fired the TOW missile towards the tank. And this is what happened to the Russian T-80 tank. Total kaput, the TOW missile is very, very effective. The known fact that Bradleys demolished more of the enemy tanks in Iraq war than the Abrams tanks. Again, because Bradleys are equipped with TOWs. But remember how Bradley was effective against the Russian T-90 tank, the best Russian tank, as Putin says, even the best tank in the world. So Bradley demolished the machine using the standard cannon. I think it's the first case registered and filmed that Bradley was able to do it using the standard gun. So truly a very effective vehicles we have, and more are coming to Ukrainian army with a new military package from the United States. Guys, there are some of the videos that I'm unable to show you on this platform because of its restrictions and policy. That's why I share them on my Telegram channel. You may find it in the video description just below. Again, those images are not very terrific. I try to choose the most friendly videos for you from all of the combat images. So go and subscribe for my Telegram channel. Russians show the remains of their Akatsiya artillery system, which was absolutely kaputted with the help of the Baba Yaga drone. Baba Yaga is a big drone able to fly for a very long distance and carry lots of the heavy mines. It's the most powerful drone tool which our forces are using. I mean, on the front lines, it's not the drone which you may launch on the Russian territory to target the Russian oil refineries, no. But as for the front lines, it's the most effective one. So Russia has Lancets and we have Baba Yaga. Well, Lancets are still more effective, we may admit it, because they fly on a longer range and they have a very precise guidance. From Baba Yaga you need to drop the bombs, but you may use Baba Yaga many times. For Lancet it's just a kamikaze drone, one-way ticket, and you lose the vehicle. But at the same time, Lancets are not that expensive. Oh, we were just speaking about the Russian T-90, and this is the Russian T-90 Emperor Reef, which was targeted by Ukrainian drone, which was totally kaputted. It's very sad because the tank was in a good condition. It was targeted by FPV just once, causing the crew to abandon the tank, but unfortunately our forces are unable to take it from the front lines, because it is a very dangerous operation to conduct by our soldiers. That's why unfortunately Ukraine have to kaput the tank for Russia not to evacuate it. Yeah, there is lots of the Russian scrap metal elsewhere. A Russian parade on 9th of May looks like that a real parade. A route of death to Robotyne village, it looks like that, so it's not being occupied by the Russian army. Sometimes they enter the southern part of the village from this direction, but they're totally demolished by Ukrainian defenders. Even though Russians claim that they've took the village under control, but no, it's not like that. The village itself, as you can see, is absolutely gone. Today I watched the video of one of the Ukrainian who works for Russia, who is pro-Russian. He says, why does Ukraine resist in the settlements? Because Russia just demolished the settlements. Ukraine should just leave them, so Russia wouldn't cause that damage. So Ukraine should leave all of the Ukraine for Russia, and in this case Russia would just march across Ukrainian cities. The war doesn't work like that. You have the areas with the settlements which are being demolished absolutely. You have to resist in those. You need to evacuate the people, but sometimes locals doesn't want to evacuate. Usually few people stay there, but not in Robotyne, of course. And Russia comes with lots of the devastations. So there is no any way to keep those settlements intact. Well, as I said to you, we may just walk out from all of the villages, towns and cities to let Russia to occupy those, as by the way it happened on the southern part of Ukraine. Then after 1 week Russia occupied most of the areas in which there is now a heavy fight ongoing. It was a huge mistake by someone from Ukraine, from Ukrainian military command and politician managers who let Russia to gain such a big territories at the very beginning of the war. Well, the main Ukrainian politicians are still silent about the case. This question is not very comfortable for them. Oh, it's interesting. I got the message from my Telegram group moderator. He says that I've been followed by United 24 Media. They just shared my post on their channel. Awesome. Yeah, there I said about the Russian HIMARS. It's the Russian Bukhanka with installed rocket systems on the top. I think they put 5 of the tubes for those missiles. It's not precise weaponry. It's not a long-range weaponry, but they still may use it. Alright, again the Made in China golf cart for the Russian army. I'll share this video on my Telegram channel, but here I may say that it wasn't the best day for the particular Russian golf crew. Inside the Russian turtle tank, so they installed the camera on the top for the driver to see the surroundings. They put the extra screen, so kind of the new modification for the Russian army. DIY made by the Russian soldiers, not by the Russian factories. According to the Foreign Affairs, the strikes of Ukraine on the Russian oil refineries cause not the oil prices rise, but to drop. Why is it happening like that? Because other oil producers concerned about the Russian oil production, in this case fuel production too, and they start to get more oil to produce more diesel, more petrol, and sell everything of that on open markets, causing the fuel prices to drop down. And with the Russian ban on fuel exports, the other countries took that niche. So the conclusion of the Foreign Affairs that Ukraine should continue those strikes because it is very profitable for everyone outside Russia, especially for the current White House administration, which was at first concerned that the oil prices and fuel prices would rise. A Czech President Petr Pavel said that they will deliver 180,000 artillery shells to Ukraine the next month. This deal is the part of the big Czech Republic initiative and also our allies' support. They're able to gather resources to purchase more than 1 million artillery shells for Ukraine. Those will be delivered gradually to Ukrainian army during this year. The Financial Times reports that Lithuania may send their forces to Ukraine for the training purposes. They say that everything is mostly agreed for this mission, so potentially Lithuania will be the first country which will deploy its forces in Ukraine since the beginning of the full-scale war. The last night Russia launched an aerial strike on Ukraine targeting many of the power plants. Now Ukraine is in a deep crisis with its energy. It requires lots of the maintenance, and some of the maintenance might take even years. But even if Ukraine repairs all of the substations and power plants, there are no any guarantees that Russia wouldn't demolish them once again, so we need to secure them with the air defense systems at first and later on rebuild. Luckily, it's not the winter time, it's already warm in Ukraine. Otherwise, it would be a very, very bad situation for Ukrainian people. And I think that it will be bad the next winter, because Ukraine mainly is unable to restore its power generation. Luckily, we have the nuclear power stations which supply energy to the households, but those are not enough for everyone. Alright, just before the big Russian celebration, some of the Russian children of Ufa did it to the images of their modern heroes of the special military operation. Well, that's what Putin says. He created the country with traditional values. This video with the Russian General Surovikin flying on some sort of the business jet was shared today through many of the Russian media sources and publics. He was saying like, let the God help us, luck to everyone. Probably he's very concerned flying on a business jet. Prigozhin flashbacks, right? He was definitely a supporter of Prigozhin's policy. After the attempted Prigozhin's coup, Surovikin was jailed. Not jailed, but detained for a few months, and later on was sent to Africa to command the Russian military missions. And now many say that he is coming to Moscow, but also some of the resources say that he is coming just for vacation and will fly back soon. To some of the other Russian very important commanders like Kadyrov, yes, he is not a Russian one, he is Chechen but still supports the Russian regime and Russia itself, and here he stops a Toyota vehicle. I'm stopping the vehicle. Just look at this face again. This guy is the Russian superhero, some sort of the Spider-Man, a little fatty Spider-Man, but nevertheless he alone may stop Ukrainian tank as well as he stops Toyota. With his outstanding body physique, Kadyrov is very capable. Oh, there is no driver inside, so I think that Kadyrov has just prevented the huge car accident, so this car was left without any handbrake and went down the street. So Kadyrov ran fast and stopped the vehicle. Wow, what a man. But still Kadyrov has a counterpart, his competitor, that he is unable to compete with. A mighty Pakistani Hulk, Han Baba. I think here Kadyrov loses. Right guys, just to be more serious, before the full-scale war of Russia against Ukraine, Kadyrov had a reputation of tyrant, of the gangster, outlaw guy, and Russians did afraid of him. They do afraid, I think, now also, but much less than it was before. I think that with those kind of the cringe videos and with the videos of his Ahmad TikTok battalion, he ruined the reputation of him personally and his TikTok army. In Ukraine, people at first also were concerned about Chechens, especially then Kadyrov gathered his forces on the main square of Grozny, showing lots of the people wearing dark uniform, ready to go and fight in Ukraine, but in reality it was just a big photo session. As sources say, most of those were not sent to Ukraine but went just home after this big meeting. And those TikTok warriors who finally made it to Ukraine were fighting behind the front lines, but nevertheless Ukraine was capable to demolish them. Kadyrov forces went to Gostomel airport, for example, then it was previously occupied by the Russian Spetsnaz forces, and later on Ukraine demolished Kadyrov forces out there, together with one of their main generals. So now people, especially in Ukraine, are not scared about Chechens, their battalions, Kadyrov himself. They're making jokes of Kadyrov and his TikTok army. Well, maybe because Kadyrov did everything to ruin his gangster reputation. It looks cringy and childish. More about Gordon Black, who was arrested and I think will be put to jail for at least 5 years. He's definitely a sergeant of the United States Army, and I found more videos of him with this girl, kind of cringe as well. Well, his behavior was kind of the self-humiliating with this girl. The Russian girl herself is in lack of the manners, of education. I can see it clearly judging on her videos. So she stayed in Korea for 5 years, and still after those 5 years she didn't change her behavior. It tells a lot. So she met Gordon Dump, I would call him Gordon Dump, near the military facility of the United States. So Gordon Dump, or maybe his dick, fell in love with Alexandra. Yes, it's the name of the girl. And she became his dictator. Yeah, literally it's like that. She was calling him Apindos, my dick, American spy. She told those names in Russian and later on shared on her social media, showing that she is able to dominate over the United States military soldier. Well, maybe Gordon Dump likes that fetish after all, because he made it to Russia, totally ignoring the United States Army protocol. He made it while the transition from the South Korea to Texas base. Yeah, he simply used this time of transition to visit Russia. He didn't tell anyone about his Russian trip, so then he went to Russia. He was arrested after a few days, because Alexandra failed the report to police that she was beaten by the American soldier, and the Gordon Dump stole 200,000 rubles, the equivalent of around $2,000. Yeah, for sure he really needed that money, because the United States Army didn't give him any salary, right? So the guy is detained in a Russian prison and probably will spend there 5 more years. Gordon Dump says that NATO behaves very aggressively. He also shared his love to Russia, and he got his payback from Russian authorities and his dictator Alexandra. Yeah, again I'm telling you about this drama because it's kind of the outstanding. I haven't heard about those kind of the stories for a very long time. This guy is as dumb as his dick. So guys, please be careful. I do not recommend you to attend Russia if you want to meet with a Russian girl. You can do it outside Russia if you want, on a neutral territory. You may say, why does Russia need this guy? Well, they need someone to exchange for their spies who were uncovered in NATO countries and now being detained. I don't know if you remember, but the Russian arms dealer Viktor But was exchanged for the American basketball player. Viktor But was held in American prison for a very long time, and the basketball player Brittany Griner was held in prison of Russia also for quite a long time. She was arrested for transporting drugs. Yeah, this exchange was definitely a strange one, but it shows that Russia needs every American citizen to get what they want from the United States or allies. My friends, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And as usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.